Mettiamo qua in mezzo, dai.
Andiamo in mezzo?
Tengo io?
Sì. Però passano, se no io non metto.
Ah? No, tienilo tu allora, dai.
Schiaccio?
Sì, va?
No, perché non è verde.
Un attimo. Uno dei due microfoni non funziona, l'altro. Laura?
Sono attivi.
Clicca di nuovo.
Deve essere verde. No, una volta. Aspetta.
Una volta.
Aspetta.
Perché mi lampeggia? Io ho cliccato.
Un attimo, perché...
Posso dire we are about? We are about.
Sì, dillo, vai.
Everyone, we are about to start. Just give us 1 minute. Thank you.
Ok, grazie. Un clic solo. Vai in palla.
Grazie mille.
Grazie, vi ringrazio.
Ah, ma quindi non siamo vicini? No, ma noi abbiamo bisogno di consultarci. No, però, grazie.
Il problema è che se non abbiamo Ale vicino come facciamo? Scusa, non possiamo fare una curata?
Fino a 15 secondi.
Direttrice vicino a te. Vicino a te ci sono io che devo valutare.
Se no, vuoi chiedere a questi dietro di spostarsi di uno e noi ci mettiamo dietro i due? Vado? Però c'è ancora un po' di...
C'è Ale in piedi.
Aspettiamo Ale. Ale?
Ale? Ale si è risolto.
Ok. Top. Vado? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first European Debate Tournament. I am Gianluca.
Ed I'm Laura.
It's a great honor and pleasure to have you here today for the grand final of this inaugural European tournament.
After preparing for weeks, yesterday some of the best debaters from all around Europe and beyond competed to reach the final. We want to thank them first. Thank you for coming in Padua to take part in this project. Let us quickly introduce our teams. We have team from Switzerland, from Ticino, team Germany from Jena, team Italy from all around our country, and last but not least, Team International, composed by the international students of the University of Padua. These teams represent the spirit of this tournament at its finest. Students from Slovakia, Turkey and Singapore all coming together to give their very best.
Today, the teams which will light up the show are Italy and Germany. They have qualified yesterday through the semifinals and will now be represented in the final. The European Debate Tournament was conceived with one ambitious goal: to bring together the younger generation from all around Europe to share ideas on today's most relevant issues, to enrich each other's perspective on them, and to discuss solutions that can hopefully shape our future.
Although the tournament was born in a university environment, our dream is that it will become an open event, a space where the best debaters from any background and place can exchange views, learn, and even have fun. We'll soon properly introduce our judges, teams, debate, and the topic. But first, let's hear some words from the founder of our debate protocol that is called Patavina Libertas. In 2001, he became the first professor of theory of argumentation at the University of Padua. In 2006, he founded one of the first Italian associations of debate, Palestra di Botta e Risposta. Let's give a warm round of applause to Professor Catani.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final of the European Debate Tournament 2025. Held here in this beautiful botanical garden in the framework of didactic innovative student project of the University of Padua. This garden, the Gary Garden of Biodiversity, is the perfect place, the perfect venue to celebrate the diversity of perspectives that lies at the very heart of every true debate. This tournament is the first European debate championships for senior national teams, held under the Patavina Libertas protocol. It continues the long Paduan tradition of fostering critical thinking and argumentation, a journey that began in 2001 with Italy's very first university course of theory of argumentation and has grown through the Palestra di Botta e Risposta, now celebrating its 20th edition. The event has been organized by DiCo, which stands for Dibatto and Comunico, meaning I debate and communicate. It is a vibrant community of university students devoted to spreading good communication and the practice of happy dispute. They are debaters, trainers, organizers, young people who have embraced the debate not as a war of words, but as a testing ground for ideas. This year's competition has brought together 4 national teams, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, and an international mixed team of students from across the world who study right here at the University of Padua. Their presence testify the growing relevance of a debate movement in Europe. The themes of this tournament are both challenging and contemporary. Yesterday's semi-finals held in Theological Hall of Basilica of St. Anthony, the teams debated motion on colonization and inclusive language. And today, in this final, we face a serious question. Should the defense of human rights take precedence over principle of national sovereignty? Let us begin then in the true spirit of disputandum est, and in faithful observance of solemn pledge of debater, which reminds us, I shall do my best to convince and at the same time to coexist, to live with. I wish you all an inspiring debate and a truly happy dispute. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for your words. And now let us warmly welcome the Regional Councillor, Mrs. Elisa Cavinato, who is also bringing greetings from the President of the Veneto region, Luca Zaia.
Good morning, everyone. It It is my pleasure as a representative of the Veneto region to welcome you to the city of Padua. We Paduans are very proud of our university. It's a privilege to be here today with you in this wonderful place. In 1678, the first woman in the world graduated from this university, Elena Lucrezia Cornaro. They were able to study here because this university has one value, freedom. Universis Patavina Libertas. There are these words that represent this institution, words that have been written to their centuries and even today give to the opportunity to freely discuss the important issues that you bring here. Thank you to Gianluca for the kind invitation. Thank you all and good luck to everyone. Thank you. Buona giornata.
Thank you for your speech. Today, we are proud to host this tournament at the historical Orto Botanico of the University of Padua, one of the oldest and the most prestigious universities. We would like to sincerely thank the University of Padua and its rector, Daniela Mapelli, for its support and for believing in the importance of critical thinking and dialogue. Let us welcome Professor Monica Salvadori, Vice-Rector and Delegate for the University's Artistic, Historical and Cultural Heritage.
Thank you very much. Welcome to everybody. Dear colleagues and friends, it is with great pleasure that I extend a warm welcome on behalf of the University of Padua to the first European debate tournament of Palestra di Botta e Risposta. This distinct occasion signifies a substantial landmark in our sustained dedication to cultivating critical thinking and resonant communication. The tournament, we know, will feature teams from Italy, Germany, Switzerland, and international contingent. It will showcase the art of constructive disagreement, a cultural treasure, and I want to underline this definition, a cultural treasure our institution aims to preserve and promote. Participants will engage in debates on pressing political, social, and cultural issues. These debates will follow the Patavina Libertas Protocol. I am very proud of the choice of Patavina Libertas Protocol. This definition is very, for me, is very important. The event forms part of an innovative educational project organized by DiCo, Dibatto e Comunico, and Palestra di Botta e Risposta with the support of the University of Padua and the FISPA department. The final debate, we know, will address a fundamental dilemma in contemporary international relations. And I think that what a wonderful place to organize this debate here in the Botanic Garden, and I hope that you can enjoy this place. It's a fantastic place, very important in our university for the story of our university. The question of whether the defense of human rights should take precedent over the principle of national sovereignty is a complex and contentious one, and we cordially invite you to join us for this celebration of intellectual discourse and democratic values. Your presence would greatly enrich this event, and we look forward to welcoming you to the University of Padua for what promises to be an engaging and thought-provoking tournament. Thank you very much to be here in our university.
Thank you, Professor Salvadori, for your brilliant speech. Let us now welcome Professor Ettore Bolisani, representing the academic board and serving as advisor for the Teaching for Learning Office.
Working? No. Maybe. Okay, thank you. Good morning again, students, colleagues. It's a great pleasure to welcome you as advisor for the Teaching for Learning project at the University of Padua, and also on behalf of Professor Marina De Rossi, Rector's Delegate for Innovative Teaching, and all the colleagues that work with me and I represent here. Teaching for Learning project is a project that has been running for almost 15 years now at our university, and its goal is the continuous improvement and innovation of teaching methods. And as a community who strongly believes in teaching and in teaching innovation, we are delighted to welcome you to this final event, which actually is not simply a competition, but in fact is a fantastic example of a method of learning and teaching in university classes. Your project is born from the proactive drive of our university students, which is also another remarkable point that I want to stress. And also, you are somewhat reviving the tradition of regulated debate in line with our university's motto, Universa Universis, Patavina Libertas, that recalls the idea that a free and joyful debate is intrinsically intertwined with the development and application of knowledge, which is exactly what universities are expected to do. Many thanks, first of all, to Professor Catani for inviting me, and we all know that he's a tireless promoter of this kind of activity. And I would like also to thank all the students and colleagues who are behind this project. I will not mention names because I don't want to forget anyone. But above all, I'd like to thank all you participants who are putting all your passions, energy, capabilities in this activity. Because we know that it is never easy to challenge ourselves with something that takes us out of our comfort zone. I can tell you that in my experience as a student first and later with students as a teacher, I know that it can be hard to get out of the routine. Often we prefer to remain stuck to the ordinary, meaning that we attend classes, or maybe we don't attend, it depends. We get back home, we take an exam, and then we move on to the next one. Instead, we believe that one can learn in many ways, and the more we are active as students and also as professors, and the greater are the individual and collective achievements that we can get. Let me finally add a personal note. When we talk about debates and argumentation skills, we often associate this with certain fields, like, for example, philosophy or law. But the ability to argue, to defend one's thesis, to avoid instrumental attacks from opponents should be a transversal ability. Today we talk about soft skills, and this is a great example of a soft skill that everybody should get. I can tell you that I teach at the School of Engineering, and you see those who deal with the hard sciences often start from a false assumption that data and facts speak for themselves. We often say, while we are scientists, we are engineers, technologists, so we don't need to add the words because our facts and data are self-evident. Well, we know that nothing is more wrong. We see every day how even good and renowned scientists can find themselves struggling to sustain a public debate on a scientific topic with opponents that may be absolutely ignorant of the topic, but are for sure fierce debaters. So for these reasons, my hope and my thanks is that with your contribution, there can be more and more space for debate and for debating capabilities in all disciplines at our universities. Now I'm particularly curious to see your talent at work right here in Padua in a live competition. I might say, may the best win, but actually for me, you have already won by the mere fact of being here. So congratulations again, and thank you very much.
Thank you for your precious words. And now let me give a moment to thank the two people that made this project possible, who are Professor Grigenti, the president of Human Science School and also the responsible for this project. And let me thank also Greta Cedermatz, who organizes this debate tournament. But now let's meet the people who will have the difficult task of judging today's debate. For this final, we will have 5 prepared judges. We have Professor Lucia Regolin, again Greta Cedermatz, Giorgio Cassiani, Edoardo Ercolin, and last but not least, Tommaso Porro.
Next, we are proud to present the members of our finalist teams. For Team Italy, Edoardo Antignani, Caterina Timpretti, Nico Arricci, Emma Tardivo e Alice Ronco. For Team Germany, I'm going to say the names because I don't want to mess up the surnames. So we have Luis, Amr, Emma, and Jamie. Best of luck for both of you.
The motion chosen for today's debate is, as you already know, should the defense of human rights take precedence over the principle of national sovereignty? We picked this topic because it feels especially relevant right now. All over the world and here at home too, the issues has become increasingly important. In these days, public discussions and protests about the Palestinian situation have filled our streets, our media, and also our universities. People are debating the limits of international action. When should our other countries or international organizations intervene? And when should they respect national sovereignty? The issue is complex. On one hand, sovereignty is a fundamental principle of international law. But on the other hand, human rights are universal. They belong to every person, regardless of borders, culture, or government.
Unfortunately, we must recognize that in many countries, human rights are still not fully respected. People are persecuted for their beliefs, their gender, their opinions, or simply for being part of a minority. When that happens, the international community faces a difficult moral question. Should it act, even if that means challenging a national sovereignty? This is why we chose this topic, because it forces us to think about the balance between moral duty and political reality, between the protection of human dignity and the respect for independence. We hope this occasion can be an opportunity for everybody to listen to opposed views on a really felt topic with an open mind and to learn something new and have more tools to evaluate this issue. Finally, we also hope you can appreciate as much as we do how powerful a good discussion can be, not only in understanding others, but also in getting along with them on peaceful terms. Thank you for your attention. I want to do a big round of applause for you, the public. And now we can start our debate. First of all, you're going to listen to the prologues that are going to introduce you to how the topic is relevant and to the team's argumentation lines. First of all, let's start from the prologue of the pro team. Oh, sorry. We have the promise of the disputants. So, I forgot. Let's call one member from Team Italy and one member from Team Germany to read the promise that all disputants accept before debating, that represents our values. Oh, you have it. Thank you.
aware that there can be different points of views on everything, that truth and justice arise from civil confrontation and fair debate, that normally there is no reason that opposes a wrong, but several opposing reasons, that is always preferable to discuss even without deliberating than to deliberate without discussing.
I promise to commit myself to researching the best arguments in favor of my position, to evaluate at the same time the reasonable objections of the other party, to reply to you in a firm and calm way, identifying the weak points and recognizing, at least in my heart, the strengths that require a response in order to reach a better understanding of things and others. I will do my best to convince and at the same time to live with.
Thank you, Caterina. Thank you, Emma. We can now start with the prologues that are going to introduce you to how the topic is relevant and to the team's argumentation line. To start, let us begin with the prologue of Team Italy.
The heirs of the great revolutions had believed in their own slogans on human rights, on freedom, on equality. But by 40 years after the dawn of the 20th century, all the principal currents of thought had taken an authoritarian turn. Thus write George Orwell in 1984. Orwell imagined what the world might look like after the Second World War, portraying the darkest of all possible futures to warn posterity against the danger of totalitarian drift. But how would we describe the world that followed and the state of health of its rights? So moving to today's motion, should the defense of human rights take precedence over the principle of national sovereignty? We do strongly believe so. Let's define its key terms, as stated by the Cambridge Dictionary. Human rights, the basic rights to fair and moral treatment that every person is believed to have. Precedence, the condition of being dealt with before other things or of being considered more important than other things. National sovereignty, the power of a country to control its own government. Today's motion invites us to restore the only possible hierarchy of human values. We will demonstrate why the defense of human rights should take precedence over the principle of national sovereignty, reminding us that, 1, there are pre-existing rights that everybody inherently possesses as a human being, and 2, states are created precisely to protect and preserve these rights. This motion compels us to reflect on the values upon which we want to build tomorrow's world. Human rights or state centrality? Humanity or power? The answer might seem obvious, but sadly it is not. And we can realize it by simply reading the news. So before moving on to the debate, let's ask ourselves one last question. Will we truly honor the post-war ideals if we allow national sovereignty to take precedence over the defense of human rights? If we put in states' hands the protection of these rights? Thank you.
Thank you, Alice, for your prologue. And when the judges are ready, they let me know. Sure? Okay. And it will be the turn of the prologue of the team Germany. So if you want to come and if you want to prepare. When the judges are ready, we can start with the prologue of the team of Germany.
Imagine you live in a stable and secure community in which, however, only the elderly have political rights and homosexual couples cannot marry. It has been like this forever, and for you it works perfectly fine. In the world promoted by the opposite team, however, your community will soon be invaded by American tanks, because the opposite team wants to put human rights before national sovereignty, always and everywhere. Now we define human rights by the UN Charter as rights that we have simply because we exist as human beings, and they are not granted by any states. They range from the fundamental, the right to live, to those that make life worth living, such as the rights to food, education, work, health, and liberty. National sovereignty, as defined by the Oxford English Dictionary, is the power of a state or community to govern itself, the right to independence, freedom from outside interference, and self-government asserted by a state or community. And to take precedence is the fact that something is more important than other things and should be dealt with first by the Cambridge Dictionary. Now, we argue that the defense of human rights should not take precedence over the principle of national sovereignty, because we today promote a structured approach instead of an excessive approach. By that we mean that we want to avoid moral obligations and retain freedom of action. Measures that can be taken this way include, for example, trade embargoes or impulsion from institutions like the UN or the EU. Jamie later will also show you that if human rights take precedence over national sovereignty, we will have an increase in interventions, which will lead to an increase of violence. And violence in itself is a violation of human rights. And we are against violence because, as Mahatma Gandhi has already said, when it appears to do good, the good is only temporary. The evil it does is permanent. And because of that, we are against human rights over national sovereignty. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma, for your prologue. We are now going to listen to the argumentations. First argumentation, of course, from Team Italy. And in the argumentations, they will try to state their thesis and tell us why they think it's the right one, with reasons and evidence. Good luck.
What happens when a nation values its force before its people? The most rigid, right-centered constitution in continental Europe today, those of Germany and Italy, by the way, were born thanks to that very realization. States that perpetuated the most horrific violation of human rights during World War II, that once stood as a proof of what may happen when national sovereignty is elevated above human dignity, understood that it was necessary to limit themselves in order to ensure that tragedies like the ones we all know will never happen again. And that lesson should be our guideline today in affirming that the defense of human rights should take precedence over the principle of national sovereignty, as the legitimacy of every state derives from its ability to protect the inherent right of its people. Every single person on this earth shares one defining trait: our humanity. It does not matter whether someone is born in France, Russia, India, or Korea. Before or else, we are human beings. And that simple fact unites us in possessing something far more valuable than our nationality or citizenships: the inherent right to live. These human rights are not created by governments or are not contingent upon geography. They are inherent to every person, everywhere. How could we claim the right to vote if we first did not possess the most fundamental right of all, the right to life? But this principle is not new, nor it is ours alone. Since the Enlightenment, great thinkers such as John Locke or Immanuel Kant have reminded humanity that certain rights, like the right to life, liberty, dignity, belong to every individual simply by the virtue of being human. These ideas became the moral compass of the modern world, shaping the very foundation of international law and the creation of the United Nations. Their legacy lives in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, a document that stands as humanity's collective promise to itself, declaring that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. This leads to our second point. The state is an instrument and not an end. These rights that we discuss, these fundamental human needs, are so essential to our existence that people felt the need to protect them collectively. And from that need, the very concept of the state was born. Even the earliest theorists of the social contract recognized that the state was born out of necessity to protect human life. Thomas Hobbes argued that the state exists to protect human life as individuals surrender part of their freedom in exchange of security and order. John Locke went even further, claiming that people already possess natural rights, life, liberty, and property before any government exists. The state purpose, then, is not to assign these rights, but to safeguard them. After all, why would any of you, as human beings in this room, would choose to surrender a part of their freedom to an authority whose purpose is not to safeguard your life and dignity? The state exists because of these rights, not in spite of them. It was created as their guardian, not as their master. Are we sure we want to leave only to the states the prerogative of safeguarding people's rights? Over the past century, even sovereign states have answered this question for themselves. They have recognized that human rights are the foundation of a stable, shared world. So much that so many have willingly ceded a portion of their sovereignty to international bodies, entrusting them with the task of safeguarding the citizens' rights, like the United Nations, the International Criminal Court, the European Council. This voluntary act proves a simple truth. Sovereignty without protection of human dignity is empty, and authority without accountability is meaningless. Fundamental human rights are not a gift from governments. They are a precondition for its legitimacy. Every person comes into this world with equal rights by the virtue of being human. And for this, the state must be their shield, not their master. We have a dream, a world where a kid born in Congo must have recognized the same human birthrights as everyone else in this room. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your argumentation. And now is the moment in which we'll explore better the Italian argumentation, because it's the moment of the Socratic dialogue. So I invite the Socrates for Team Germany. And it's really important, this moment, because we have listened to an argumentation, but probably also all of us want to explore it better. And it's what the Socrates do. So he will ask him some questions, and in this case, Nicole will answer in order to defend her thesis. Best luck.
Thank you. Ciao. First, thank you for your argumentation. I just have a few questions for you. First of all, can you remind me what was your definition of human rights?
Of course. I'll read it to you as a prologue. Human rights, the basic rights to fair and moral treatment that every person is believed to have.
Okay, I understand. Does for you the right to live count as a human right?
Of course.
Does for you the right or the freedom of expression count as a human right?
Yes, it is a human right.
And the right to fair and democratic elections where everyone can participate in?
Yes, it's a human right.
And does the
there
right...
are different kind of human rights, though.
And does the right to marry anyone you want also count as a human right for you?
It can be considered, I suppose, but again, there are different kind of human rights. They're considered different generation on different levels.
Yeah, so do you think that different countries count different things as human rights and not as human rights?
No, because there are some basic principles that are the fundamental human rights that are shared all over the world just because we are human.
Okay, do you think Europe or the European countries in general would say marrying anyone is a human right?
They won't everywhere in the world, but again,
Europe,
it's a different generation of human rights. Those rights come after the most basic human rights.
But now I'm asking about Europe specifically.
About Europe?
Yeah.
Repeat your question.
Does the European countries, do you think they count the right to marry anyone you want as a human right?
Yes.
And do you think Saudi Arabia also does count it as a human right?
I suppose they don't.
Okay, thank you. Then I have another question for you also. Do you generally agree that moral standards should be acted upon?
Moral standards?
Yeah, moral standards. So if you have a moral standard, should
what
it
do
be
you
acted
mean?
upon? When you have a moral standard, like human rights to put above national sovereignty, should you act according to that standard?
Moral rights,
Human rights.
human rights, should be acted upon sovereignty.
If you say that human rights are above national sovereignty, do you think,
They're not above, they should come before.
yeah, they should come before? So you
Yes.
should act accordingly to that theory or
Yes.
to that moral standard, yes. So when human rights are being violated in any country, you would intervene in this country to save the people in it.
No, that's not what I'm trying to
But
imply.
how would you act upon this moral standard of human rights?
Of
above
protecting
national
human rights in every
Yeah,
country?
exactly.
That's why states give up part of their national sovereignty to sovereign national bodies.
Do they do it out of free will?
Yes,
So if a specific country says, I don't want that another country intervenes in my country, it's fine.
that's not the thing. Giving up part of your national sovereignties to a sovereign national institution, for example, the United Nations, the European Union, it's saying that those sovereign national institutions can enforce, for example, or can take away part of the state decisions.
And if a country doesn't give away its national sovereignty to a superficial or a super
Have they?
organization,
Do they,
if a country doesn't give away its national sovereignty, would you?
practically, they all did.
But if there would be, it's a theoretical question.
It's a theoretical question.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it didn't,
Yeah, if a country doesn't give away its national sovereignty, would you still intervene in this country to save its people?
I guess you could, yes.
Okay, thank you. And another question. You said in your argumentation that countries limit themselves, and that's important. Do you think it is the same for a country to limit itself and another country to force it to limit itself?
There's no countries that are forcing other countries to limit themselves.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you guys for this first Socratic dialogue. And now, when the judges are ready, we are going to listen to Team Germany's argumentation. They're going to try to tell us, as Team Italian did, why, which reasons and facts prove that their position is the right one. Best of luck.
To start our argumentation, it is vital to note that we, on our side, we don't argue against human rights. Quite the opposite, we argue for human rights. We just argue against the approach of our opposition, which in this debate we have referred to as an excessive approach. And they have already admitted in the Socratic dialogue that once they declare that human rights outrank national sovereignty, they plan on acting upon it, because otherwise this re-evaluation would be pointless. But in practice, that would mean a steep rise of intervention all around the globe. And the reason for that is that according to Amnesty International, 167 countries are currently in violation of the UN Human Rights Charter. Intervening in all these countries would mean an impossible effort. So, even if we still choose to intervene, some nations may agree to a peaceful resolution, but we believe that a great many nations, especially those still under a totalitarian or undemocratic regime, will retaliate massively. That is because if they accord to all human rights, those regimes would practically lose all their power. So of course they are going to resist with all of their military might. A glaring example of this would be the war between Iraq and the US. The goal of the invasion of Iraq in 2003 was to make its people free, to quote George Bush. And yes, it is true that under Saddam Hussein's reign between 1983 and 2006, the European Agency of Asylum links over 400,000 casualties to his regime. However, looking at the conflict that ensued afterwards, the Royal Holloway University of London estimates almost 1 million deaths throughout the war, so more than double. and another 4 million people were forced to flee the region. So in truth, behind the mantle of human rights defense hides a steep increase in violence. It is a cruel irony that the excessive defense of human rights should entail a much larger violation of those same rights, but it is the lesson that reality has taught us. Therefore, if we truly are valuing human rights and the protection of lives, we must choose a structured approach of our side without invading the national sovereignty of countries. And even if we choose option 2 and we only intervene in a select few countries, we would then open the gates for third parties with ulterior motives that influence the decision process of which countries do we actually intervene in. Again, the Iraqi war is a great example, as it was justified partially by the defense of human rights. However, according to former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan, a large reason behind the attacks was to grab hold of the local oil industry. So, especially lower developed countries can quickly become victims to a similar way of exploitations were we to diminish their national sovereignty. And this perfectly leads to the importance of national sovereignty in itself, because in practice it is the most important boundary preventing invasions and wars between nations, as intruding on a nation's sovereignty will right now, without exception, always be followed with rash consequences. And now if we were to institute an exception, we risk that third parties gain access to exploit a country. So in summary, if we introduce this moral obligation, we will drown in a slur of violent conflicts, we will massively impede smaller nations, and if we truly try to eradicate human rights violations, we need to choose our structured approach. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your argumentation. And again, we will see another part that you already know, which is the Socratic dialogue. And in this case, the person that will ask some questions to our, let me remember your name, because I forgot
Jamie.
it. Jamie, he will explore his thesis as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for your speech. We listened carefully to your speech, and I would like to go deep in it. First of all, don't you think that it might be a little bit dangerous to give no limit to the exercise of the national sovereignty?
We think it is dangerous, yes, but we think it is even more dangerous to give leeway to the countries that are now feeling like they're in a moral high ground to intervene in those countries.
How?
Well, you said you listened carefully. I already explained that those countries intervening will be met with violence. And as you already stated, the most important human right is the right to live. And if we end more lives through intervening than they are ended right now, we actually only made things worse.
You said that we didn't present a structured approach, right?
Exactly.
Then why now you're stating that we have presented a violent structured approach?
No, you have presented an excessive approach, which means that you try to tell us that we should intervene in all countries that right now are breaking.
Then, what's your solution?
Our solution is to try and not intervene, but we try to convince those countries to accord to human rights by other measures, not invading on national sovereignty, like, as Emma already stated, expulsion from the EU or trade embargoes, so something that doesn't immediately lead to violence.
then what we have learned from the Holocaust?
The Holocaust is something entirely different right now, because
it wasn't a violation of human rights.
It was a massive violation, of course, and it is important that the people acted.
And
but
what you think?
The Holocaust, please let me finish right now. The Holocaust was a violation also of national sovereignty, because Germany invaded massively around Europe, and that fundamentally differs from what we right now are trying to say, because we say when invading, consequences are absolutely necessary, but if it is not needed to invade, then we don't have to bring more violence to those
talking
countries.
About our responsibility, for example, Mussolini wasn't elected democratically.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Those who did those violations of fundamental human rights weren't elected democratically, so using national sovereignty?
I think, I'm sorry, can you rephrase, please?
Of course. If we vote for someone with democracy, then the person has the power to use the national sovereignty. Okay, so don't you think that those people were legitimately elected from this point of view?
Of course,
but you have just said that it was a violation of the principle of national sovereignty.
Yeah, but if a person is elected and then violates human rights, the correlation is not there, because yes, they were elected democratically, but they still have like the obligation to then in their reign still accord to human rights. Like there's no correlation here.
Then what you think a constitution is?
The constitution is the law that is practiced in a country or a nation.
And don't you think that also talking about Italian constitution and the constitution from Germany, the constitutional rights take precedence over the rights from the parliament?
But then, by that logic, the constitutional rights of a nation would take precedence over human rights,
and
which is on our side.
And don't you call it a limitation of national sovereignty?
I think, are we done or can I answer?
That's my last answer.
I think it is definitely an invasion if we invade there. Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for this dialogue. You really gave us a show. Now, the first part of the debate is over and the teams will have 10 minutes to prepare for the second part. Rebuttals, collective defense, and epilogues. Maybe even 15 minutes, I see that you're asking me, but let's give you 10 minutes to start with, and then we can see if you're ready or not. So you can go outside so that you can prepare properly. And sì, fai un paio in meno, poi sì, dai. The judges are also gonna go out to discuss.
And if you want to take a break, and if you want to take a break, you are allowed. And but it's important to return here, of course, to listen to the second part of our debate. Thank you.
Let's say 10 minutes break for you guys, and then we will talk about what will happen in the second part of the debate.
serve per
evidenziare I punti deboli e le contraddizioni della squadra avversaria in una maniera molto incisiva.
in a strong
In a
way.
clear and impactful way.
Posso chiedere se siamo pronti? Se sono pronti. We are about to restart, so I invite you to sit on your places. I see some people that are arriving, but I think that almost all of us are here. Okay, let's wait some 6 seconds to let our guests sit. Okay, I think that we can start again with our debate. I'm sure that you enjoyed the first part, but now we have the second part of the debate, which is a not prepared part. Or better, the last part that I anticipate you is the prologue, and it will be prepared. But these two parts that you are gonna listening, that are the rebuttal and the collective defense, are not prepared. So we must see what our teams are prepared in this break. We will listen firstly for this part, which is the rebuttal, and is the part in which the teams expone what are the problematic points in a clear and impactful way. We have to listen to what are the points in which they see some fallacies, for example, and they have to expone them to the opposite team. And then the team, of course, can replay to this part, but with a collective moment, which is the only collective phase of our protocol. So, if the rebuttal of the Team Italy is ready, I think that we can start.
So, thank you guys again for your argumentation. In the prologue, you said that it has been like this forever, and for you, it has always worked fine. Then we would ask you again, why the Holocaust happened? How can you justify that as working fine? We find this suggestion to be a form of historical justificationism, which does not constitute evidence at all. Since men have always worked and women haven't, shouldn't we therefore accept sexism just because society has survived anyway? And when I mean survived, I do not mean thrive. We believe that things must change when necessary, especially in matters of human rights. You mentioned violent intervention and past example as the Iraq wars, but you stated yourself that this war was not because they wanted to preserve human rights, but just to obtain the oil resources present in Iraq, and that was just a mask which was not the true objective of that war. This is a type of strawman argument, replacing real issues with a distorted, exaggerated, and often absurd version that is easier to attack. You built a house by stating how we would do that, but never heard why we shouldn't do that, which I remind you is the topic of this competition. Why should human rights take priority over state sovereignty? You explained why it is impossible, but you didn't explain why shouldn't it be that way. We are supposed to follow the law and not to rely on the undefined nature of human rights. Then what do you think the state should use as the basis for their laws? You took a catastrophic approach without considering the nuances. You immediately assumed that we would use war as a means to enforce human rights, but we never stated that. In fact, we are strongly against war, since protection from war is one of the fundamental human rights. You recognize in the Socratic dialogue the tragedies such as World War II, but you also admit that the solution is constitution. But then we ask you again, what is constitution if not a limitation of state sovereignty?
Thank you, Emma, for your rebuttal. And now we are going to wait for the collective defense of Team Germany. They will have 2 minutes from now to end its preparation. In the collective defense, Team Germany will defend from this rebuttal, trying to give an answer to all the points raised by Emma. And also, something that is going to be evaluated by the judges is the coordination of the team. So, how they can manage to talk in a smooth way, I will say. Another minute, and then we are ready. Thirty seconds from now. 30. Ten seconds. And time is up. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. You asked why human rights shouldn't take precedence over national sovereignty. And we not only said it would be because it is impossible, we said it shouldn't because it would lead to interventions which will be followed by violence. On our side, we can intervene in the worst case, but you must intervene always and everywhere where human rights are violated.
You said we accused you of using war to enforce, but we say it's not an accusation, it's pure logic. Because the consequences of your moral obligation is to intervene in countries like that, and this intervention will always be met with violence. So war is inevitable in your scenario.
Yes, exactly. To refer to Emma's case, you are saying that human rights always have to prevail about the national sovereignty. We don't say that national sovereignty always have to prevail about human rights, but they can stand next to each other and we can have case-related decisions. That's possible on our side, it's not possible on your side. So in the Holocaust case, it would be possible to intervene because it was singular, it was the baddest thing that ever happened. It would be possible, but as you self-stated, you can't intervene in a sexist community. If the only thing that happens in an African country is that they're sexist, we can't intervene with military force.
Yeah, thank you. And you also talked about Iraq and that Iraq wasn't about human rights, but it was about oil. But if you hear Bush talk about Iraq, it was only about human rights or mainly about human rights. And it was true that Saddam Hussein also violated human rights. There were human rights violations in Iraq, and America used it as an excuse to say human rights are more important as national sovereignty, to then make it about oil interests. But there were human rights abuses, and America just used it as an excuse. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your collective intervent. And now is the time also, it's your time again, because you have to speak us with your rebuttal of cons.
Okay, I'm sorry. You heard me already, right? Can I presume or start again? Okay, I will start again. Sorry. You talked about that the state only exists to protect human rights. And we don't believe this as a fact that can be used in this argumentation. Firstly, I just want to add one quick fact that Hobbes himself, that you quoted, only knew self-preservation as the only human right at all, and he wanted that humans would give all of their rights to the state, and that's not at all what we want. I don't think that you want it to. Also, I think that we have to deal with the fact that states exist in our living world. It is not that now and every time people come together and they found a state because they want to protect their human rights. It is a reality that we have to deal with. And then you said that when a state doesn't fulfill this duty that they have, other ones have to come and fill in. And frankly, that's colonialism, that's violence, that's exactly what we proved on our side. But okay, you, on your point, are accepted in it itself. Because you stated that one needs to act upon its values. And that would mean that you would have to intervene in 167 countries on the world that violate human rights. Intervene? Yes, you would have to intervene, because giving up sovereignty to international organizations doesn't exist. The UN is not sovereign. Every member state of the UN is still a sovereign state. And it is debatable on the EU, but that's a singular topic. Every other thing in the criminal court is still sovereign because you can step back and get out of it. And you yourself defined national sovereignty, that you have the control about your own government, and that is still the case in every country except for the EU countries that are not the main purpose of this debate. So you can't make case-based decisions. You have to intervene everywhere, and if not, your moral ranking is absolutely obsolete. It doesn't help at all if you don't follow it, and I think if you follow it, it's dangerous. Because in your world, the international communities would have no freedom of action. They had to do exactly what they said before, to put human rights above the national sovereignty and act upon it. That means invasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis, for your rebuttal. And now, after 2 sublective minutes, Team Italy will respond with their collective defense. 1 minute. Thirty seconds now. Ten seconds. If you're ready, you can come. Good luck.
Si gira, vabbè. Vabbè. Mettiamo così.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Thank you for your points. I would like to make a punctuation about the observation made about Hobbes. Of course, we do not agree with the vision of Leviathan in which the states control all of our actions, but it was just an example of how he theorized the birth of a state, because people, fearing for their lives, decide to collectively put their rights in the hand of the state, like to put them in a lock to protect them, in a safe to protect them, not, of course, to destroy them.
Also, you said that with giving precedence to the defense of human rights upon the principle of national sovereignty, which is the position that we are sustaining today, this would inevitably lead to intervention, so wars, soldiers having to leave their home country, tragedies, deaths, forgetting that there are many other ways to guarantee those rights nowadays, for example, with monetary compensation, sanctions, diplomatic and politics means. Fortunately, we live in a civil country in 2025. Thank you.
You also stated that the UN is not a sovereign organization, but that's just simply not true, since UN has many ways to keep states accountable for their mistakes. One of them is in the International Court of Justice, who entered into the picture even when state did not sign the official treaty for its function.
And finally, we would like to give light on the fact that we cannot prove something with a case-based approach. You cannot say that if someone used an instrumental approach to defend the human rights, then it's not true. We cannot say that if someone used violence to protect human rights, it shouldn't be applied. Of course, we wanted to prove, actually, that we should take precedence, the defense of human rights should take precedence over the national sovereignty because of principle, with a right approach, with a balanced approach, and not with violence on instrumentalism. Thank you all.
Thank you, Team Italy, for your collective defense. And now we are at the finish of our debate, to the final part of our debate. And there is the moment that probably give you more emotions, more, I don't know, a really intense mood. Because this is the part of the epilogue. So the two teams will sum up what they discuss during the debate, and they will do it in a really meaningful way. The idea is that they have to collect all the ideas that come up during the debate and give you an interesting picture of them. So, if the Team Italy is ready for its epilogue, I will give the word to Alice.
Today's debate has seen the contraposition of two opposite visions of the world. The opposition has defended an idea of a world where the defense of human rights is up to state, with a structured approach, and which intervention of international organization is pictured as an impossible effort. Furthermore, the opposition has pointed out that guaranteeing human rights upon everything worse could happen. We thank you for your contribution, yet we'll believe in a very different future. We hope for a world, and we have thoroughly supported this through our argumentation, in which the defense of human rights should take precedence over the principle of national sovereignty. A world in which fundamental rights belong to all humans as such, and states acknowledge their mission to defend them. Nothing should stand between the defense and the effective protection of human rights. Nothing should prevent the guarantee of these rights, least of all the states themselves, which were born precisely to protect their citizens. Tom Clark, a US Supreme Court justice, once said, "A right is not what someone gives you, it's what no one can take from you." We believe in a world where, when faced with the choice between humanity and power, between the centrality of rights and that of states, every single person would choose the first. We believe in a world where all the words spent by philosophers, legislators, scholars about human rights are not mere declarations of intent, but genuine, universal programs for action meant to avoid repeating the horrific tragedies of the Second World War. We believe in a world where humankind preserves its humanity, affirming its most primal essence and resisting the Orwellian downfall described in 1984. We dream of a world that posterity will be able to recount as peaceful and free, a world where there's no heaven, no hell below us, and above us only sky. Yes, we dream of a world where the defense of rights does not depend on the strength of a state to impose itself, but where rights belong to everyone, a world where there's no countries, nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. You may say we're dreamers, but we are not the only ones. We hope someday you will join us, and the world, finally, will live as one. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice, for your epilogue. And now, the last evaluated phase of this debate from Germany as well. Your epilogue. Emma, good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, the question today is whether violating national sovereignty for human rights actually saves human lives. The fight is between a structured approach on our side and an excessive approach on the opposite side. The other team has shown us the importance of human rights. We agree with that. And the state's obligation to protect those human rights. We, however, argued that if we put human rights over national sovereignty, they necessarily have to follow acts, and those acts have to be interventions, because other measures would not hurt the national sovereignty. And intervention, by definition, is violence. So secondly, if we act, we have to intervene everywhere where human rights are being violated, which is impossible. And thirdly, or lastly, if we only intervene in certain countries, it results in cherry picking, where the focus is not anymore on human rights violations, but other aspects take over the role of deciding which countries are intervened with, such as oil interests. And at that point, what are we even doing? So now again, imagine
you live in a stable and secure community in which, however, only the elderly have the political rights and homosexual couples cannot marry. It has always been like this, and for you, it works. This community obviously has got some huge problems, but please, opposite team, don't make it worse in a failed attempt to make things right. Don't kill them for their problems while trying to save their lives. We think, therefore, you should follow our way and not use this excessive approach of the other side. 4 lives, so thank you.
Okay, end of debate. From this moment, the debate, the evaluated part of the debate is finished. But actually, we don't finish with the entire debate, because we have the last part, which is really important for our way of debating, which is the reciprocal acknowledgement. And in this moment, the two teams can debating again, but for this moment, not about the topic, but about what was before the topic. So all their starting points of their argumentation, of their argumentative line, and the idea is that they find, we can say, a floor of common ideas in order to understand each other better. And it's really an important moment, because the idea, like we heard during the promise of the debatants, is that we don't compete and enough, but is something which go beyond.
So we call the team to the stage, and in the meanwhile, the judges can go outside to confer and decide who the winner of this final will be. I will join you to say something about the award ceremony, and the floor is yours.
Please.
Okay, so firstly, thank you very much. I think we had a very nice debate. We are all very relieved now, and I hope you are too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, we were quite afraid of the topic when we first saw it, because we thought okay, when there is one fundamental thing that you don't argue about, that human rights should prevail about nearly everything. And it was very difficult for us to find a line to fight on. I hope it wasn't too weird for you to argue against that line. Yes, but we think you did a very good job as well, and we are very happy to have this debate about the best of the best. Thanks.
Firstly, we also would like to thank you all for just being here, because it's given us both the possibility to discuss about such important issues, and also again compliments for how you dealt with the topic, because we do think that the con was harder to defend in this type of debate than the pro, but you did such an amazing job. Especially the argumentation was very sound, and also the diction in which you said it was really captivating. And also when you have such topic, it's hard to fall into cliche, but you guys didn't do anything. It was all new, it was fresh, it had a nice cut to it. It was a really great debate, and we thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you also from me, and also you said thank you that we come. Thank you for having us. I think those topics are also, they are so important. They transcend borders, and to be able to argue about such important things in Italy is very honorable for us. I think one specific thing that I really liked about the debate was the epilogue. I really wow, just I aspire to have such rhetorical skills in the future. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you again, guys. It was a really, I think, kind of tough debate because it was very good, but I think maybe we weren't really aligned. I mean, at least in my opinion, I don't know how the others think, but I think we were debating on two different levels with two different concepts, maybe of the topic in our minds, but I think we still made it work through in some ways, and it was really, really fun, really interesting here also to hear your point of view. So thank you for being here again.
Yes, thank you. Also, I think my favorite part of this debate were the two Socratic dialogues. I thought those were they were searching for answers to bring the topic more further, to advance our view on the topic and not just point out mistakes that you saw in our argumentation, but they were actually focused on making the argumentation make more sense. So I really appreciated that. Thank you.
Thank you guys again. I really appreciate the balance of your team. You're very balanced, you're very aligned, and also your personalities, I think they go very well together. With such team, like with such motions, it's kind of difficult because you have to argue something that has always been like this, and we have to argue on something that maybe it's not like this still yet. So yeah, it's always kind of difficult to not be cliche or not to be like too basic, and for us not to be too like naive maybe. I hope we did not do that. Also, I wanted to say one more thing, but I can't remember it anymore. I don't know what to say. If it comes to mind later, I will say.
Yeah, I just also want to say a very huge thank you for this debate, because it was such a controversial topic, so I think we were all very nervous going into it. So how's it going to play out? What are we going to do? And I think we also had a lot of respect for you guys, because we come here, we don't have a lot of information about the format, we never did this. And I think you played a great part in making us feel welcome and making this debate as interesting as it was. And for me, it was the first time taking part in a Socratic dialogue. So I felt really welcomed and respected, and that you guys were able to do this really means a lot. So thank you.
First of all, I wanted also to thank you guys for this debate and for the amazing job you have done. And I wanted to stress the fact that I really appreciate how we both as teams came here today to discuss about the same topic, but with two different points of views. But we both came here with arguments that look forward to a better world. And I think that's something to take into consideration also in other environments. So thank you.
To also take the assist of my mate, the fact that we were on like two different levels, what I appreciated was, okay, we weren't on the same level, but we were both asking for explanations. We weren't like, okay, that's my railway, I'm going this way, and you are going this way, but we were, okay, tell me more from both sides. So this was a really good thing. Also, you are a very great team. I like the cooperation between you. I can see, I don't know, but I can see a great teamwork behind the scenes, maybe, I don't know. And also another cool thing that we noticed this morning was that in our argumentations we were talking about like Italian and German constitutions, and we were okay, now we are going against Germany, so it is going to be like a great context to also ask for explanation and different point of view, like also because like our both nations, I can tell that's also the great thing about internationality and meeting other countries. Both contexts came with like a huge responsibility on these teams, so it was great to have the possibility to discuss together. Thank you.
No, I just wanted to say something which is obvious, but I was also kind of like stressed out for this debate. But I would say that for once, I was not happy that it ended. I would have liked to do one more phase, one more. So it was good, like engaging and talking and debating. So it's not something that happens really often. It's rare for me. So because usually I want to go, like I want to end this. I'm dying of stress and tense. So it was really good.
Thank you.
Just one last thing maybe, because we started the tradition yesterday, and of course also for you, we brought a little present. It's the same German Pfefferkuchen, so gingerbread from Germany to start the Christmas season. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think that now we are definitely finished with this part. And as we draw the close of this wonderful day of debate, I would like to take a few minutes to reflect on what we achieved together and thank all those who make this event possible. First, allow me to speak about the association that organized this tournament, DiCo, Dibattito and Comunico. DiCo was founded with the mission of building a community of people enjoying debating, learning, and engaging in good communication.
It's a debate association which is born in Padua from us university students and from the constant support from Professor Adelino Cattani. And our objective is to bring the debate not only in the competitive form, but in every aspect of society and in every way that it can arrive to people.
Well, through the European tournament debate, we aim to offer a platform where students from across Europe can meet, present their ideas, challenge themselves and each other, and learn in a respectful way, structured environment.
Other activities that we do, if you may be interested, well, first of all, follow us on Instagram so that you are updated about everything. DiCo_associazione, very important. And above that, what do? We do meetings throughout the year. Some are seminars from communication experts. Some are laboratories from the debaters with the most experience between us that teach to the younger ones. And some others are just open discussions. We choose a topic, a theme that we think is very current and relevant, and we talk about it, even with our position, just to enrich ourselves with others' opinions.
Yes, of course. And now we can challenge the public. It could be a good idea. Okay.
Sure, and the judges are ready as well, so talk a little bit with the public, and I'm going to know the winners.
Well, I'm alone. But now it's the moment to challenge you, because I only want to ask some opinions about this debate. All ideas are accepted, ideas about the topic, so what we discussed, better, what our teams discussed, but also about the phases that we across. Someone who want to start to break the ice? I don't see any hand up. We will not evaluate this part, of course, so be free to speak. The yesterday team? Oh, yes, of course. There is the international team here. Okay. And as I said before, yesterday there was the semi-final, so two teams challenged each other for arrive to the final, and they was the international team against the Italian team. And they they debated about a topic which was I don't remember. It's a problem. That was about a civil topic. I don't know if someone from the international team want to make us some impression of what they debate today. The Italian one, the international one, I don't know. There's a person here, okay, from the international team. Please come. say to students from the international team. As I said before, the international team was made up of international students of the University of Padua. And so it's your turn of saying something about what you like or dislike from yesterday's debate.
Today was very much enjoyable. Yesterday I didn't have the time to listen to the other teams, and I'm glad actually for not doing that, because to see the final performance was amazing. It was very challenging to see, like, decide on which side would win. So I still don't have any idea. It's just all up to the judges. And thank you for this opportunity in general.
Yeah, I would also like to thank all of the organizers of this tournament, as not only on an international level, that's teams coming from Germany and Switzerland, but as Padua, we have one of the highest international student population in Italy, I would say. And it's great that more and more organizations held in English. And yeah, I would really like to thank everyone who participated in the organization. And especially for today's debate, I think it was a quite good debate. Especially, I enjoyed the Socratic dialogues, both of them, very much. And yeah, I'm excited to see who won, because I can't really guess now.
I wasn't a speaker for our team, but an organizer. But I first want to thank Gianluca for everything he did to get in contact with us, to help us. Oh, you're right here. Yeah. My bad. I'm half blind.
And applause to Greta as well.
Yeah. I was coming there, come on. And Greta for getting in contact with us, teaching this format, and we all really loved this format so much, especially since we weren't as familiar with it before. And it was a joy to watch, even from the audience both times. The Socratic part is always the most fun for me, and this format in general, it was so fun to be introduced to, and we are so happy to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. And sorry for my lack of memory, but I didn't remember the topic of yesterday, but it was about colonized countries and financial compensation. So, as I said before, was a social topic, but it involves also other fields. Okay.
Let's also call Team Switzerland if they want to say something.
Yes, thank you. So for us, it was also the first time debating this kind of format, and it was very interesting, especially having it so structured. We're used to a very open debate system where you have to respect the other person and, talk quite openly, and it was very interesting and quite entertaining. I must say, we weren't well prepared, but we did our best. And I think it was well organized. So thank you so much. And I'm also excited to see who's going to win.
Well, me too. I'm extremely thankful and happy for this opportunity. As my companion here, Bea, also said already, it is radically different to what we were used to, but it was still very interesting and fun to do. I really enjoyed yesterday's debate against the German team. It was not easy. As you can see, we lost. But it was really fun. And about today's debate, I loved the topic. I think was hard and very interesting. I love the Socratic dialogues, especially Eduardo's. Even seeing the first one he did, he is really incredible. And the Socratic dialogues is what I also did, and I am not nearly as good. And yes, I would like to, again, on behalf of the Swiss team, thank all of you. Thank Gianluca, thank Greta for the organization, thank everyone, the institution, for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I remembered you that the topic of yesterday was debating Team Switzerland and Team Germany was about inclusive language. This is the reason why they say that was not a simple topic.
I also want to thank someone more because for creating the teams, we had to have people that helped us with contacts. So I want to thank Alessandro Draghi for helping us create the German team. I want to thank Professor Regolin and Zera for creating the international team. And I also want to thank Kino Sonzogni, who's not here, for creating the Swiss team. Lastly, I want to thank, well, first of all of the people from our association that helped us with giving out brochures, for me, teaching the other teams how to use this protocol and everything. So big round of applause for them. And I want to thank Laura for the effort that she put today.
Thank you.
One last thing, before I talked about some of our activities as an association, but if you are international students and don't speak Italian, since the activities that I talked about before are in Italian mostly, I wanted to note that we are talking about possibly collaborating with the international team and the Psycho Debate Association to create meetings in English. So you can come to those as well.
You lost the part before, because I asked the public to share their opinions about the debate, but they are really shy. I don't know if you can cooperate with them. Yeah.
Public, do you want to give us some opinions?
They are shy. Yes. Oh,
There's
okay.
Good morning, everyone. I really liked the whole thing. Like, it was really a good experience. And I want to emphasize two things about the teams. The first one is the epilogue by the Italian team. I really, really appreciated it. It was really good. And the second thing is the coordination of the German team. It was really good. And the topic, which was like about human rights, it was at first when I heard about the topic, it was like pretty much obvious, like how countries' sovereignty is getting more emphasized in case of like human rights. But after that, after listening to everything, like after a certain point, I feeling like maybe after some times the intervention is gonna be not in the interest of human rights, but in the interest of the nation. So that's a very good point raised by the German team, and I liked it, and that's all. Thank you very much.
Does someone else want to say something?
As I said before, it's not an evaluated part, so don't worry.
Nobody. Do someone from the Swiss or international team want to say who?
They are ready.
Who would like? Who they think won this debate? Oh, they don't want to say. Then, should we start with the award ceremony?
Probably they are waiting for it, and it's the reason why they are not sharing opinions with us. We have to go to the most interesting part, probably, for you. Are we ready?
Let me call Professor Cattani and then we're ready.
Okay.
Entertain the public.
Again, but if I ask you some questions, I received only one answer. I have asked some questions, and you have to answer with your raised hand. Okay, probably the first question that I came in my mind is about the protocol itself, because, yeah, of course, the topic was thought, and it wasn't simple. Also, in a situation like the situation that actually is in our world. So I have some questions about probably the way in which we debate. And in particular, do you prefer, we can say, the part where a non-only speaker was speaking, or a part where there is really debate between two members of the two teams? If you want to raise your hand, I rephrase the question. So, do you prefer part with a solo speaker? Nobody. Okay, I changed the question. So, do you prefer the part where two people were speaking? Okay, so the Socratic dialogue is the best part of our protocol. This happens.
Almost done, but we can start with the lesson.
Okay, I finished this moment. It seems like professors asking questions, and the class is, no, I don't want to answer. But don't worry, I imagine that if it's the first time for you listening to this protocol, probably you will find it a little bit complicated, and it's not that simple, probably, for the first listening. But now it's coming the moment that you are waiting for. So,
first of all, let's start this award ceremony with the awards for the best orator of the day, of the final. And to present this award, I would like to invite to the stage Professor Giovanni Ponchio, if he wants to give the award to the disputants. He is the president of the Association of Istituto Barbarigo, which is a high school in Padua, which is the only high school in Italy that has argumentation as one of their curricular subjects. So you may come to the stage. And we have this one. So, the judges decided that, starting from Team Italy, which was pro, the orator of the final is Nicole Ricci. Congratulations. And the orator of the final for Team Germany is Jamie.
I will never forget your name again. Okay, but they are, of course, the best speakers of the final, but there are also another title for the entire tournament, which is the best orator or the best speaker of this tournament. So Professor Bolisani can come and give the prize to the one who was selected.
The orator of the tournament, the best orator of the tournament is Nicole Ricci. Congratulazioni.
A big round of applause.
And now the bronze medals for starting.
They are waiting so much for this part, and we are continuing to let them waiting.
Yeah, but there is actually someone that we're waiting for the gold medal. So I may call Giorgio Cassiani, Edoardo Ercolina, and Tommaso Porro to give the bronze medals.
Three of our judges, of course.
You may have understood who won the bronze medal, probably, at this point. That is Team International and Team Switzerland. Please come to the stage. Sì, sì.
Please, please, don't be shy.
Andiamo? Ok, andiamo. Cattani mi ha dato via libero. Sai perché? Poi dove? Ok, quindi...
Okay, thank you. You can put them here. There are another couple of minutes to waste. No, I'm joking. We are ready. And now we can share with you who was the winner of this final. 1 minute again. I need to put the name on the cup. Okay, okay. We will wait again. And do you have some impressions of the winner? In Italian, we say gufare. I'm not able to translate it in English, but probably you get the sense. Jig-sit from judges. Thank you. Okay, but some impressions. Is okay. Well, I don't know. For example, we don't say the name. We say only pro or cons. For the pro, some ideas? We are ready. Okay, so niente gufata, as we can say in Italian. Okay, but I maintain this question. So, how much of you think that the pro team could have a good chance to win? Don't be shy, they don't vindicate on you. No, the cons team, you don't believe in yourself. They are shy. Nothing to do. For the cons, there are so few hands raised that I cannot count them. So, of course. Well, the moment is arrived. So, please, Team Italy and please, Team Germany, to come to the stage. And now, of course, someone will give you the prize. So I invite Professor Regolin, I invite Greta, and also, of course, Professor Catani. So please come to the stage.
So, you have the medals here to give afterwards. The winners of this first European debate tournament are Team Germany.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys. Avete le medaglie. Avete le medaglie.
But also, our congratulations goes also for Team Italy, who is in the second place, of course. There are some medals here. Oh, no.
We should start the music now.
A music?
Yeah.
We have to dance.
We are the champions, I don't know. Something like that.
Do you want to sing it?
No.
No, it's better for us. It's better that you don't do it. I'm joking. But it's the most serious point of the debate of this day, so
So I would say the event is ended. Thank you to the public for being here.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we didn't mention it before when we talked about the activities, but we hope that we can do this tournament next year as well with more teams. Possibly even teams outside Europe have already expressed interest. Team Morocco has said that they want to send a team. So we wait for you next year with an even bigger tournament. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
5 e 5. No, queste sono d'oro. No, le bronzo le hanno già date.
Ma manca una oro.